Now we're going to talk about 16th note triplet rest. Now remember when we had 8th note triplet rests and 8th notes, and the 8th note triplet rests looked exactly the same as the 8th note rest? Now the only difference back then was the little 3 and the line above the notes, and that kind of grouped them as triplets. The same thing is with 16th note triplets. The way I have the sheet music here is each count consists of 2 groupings of 16th note triplets. Okay, so you're going to see a line, and a little 3 in each one of those, and that's one count. Okay, so you're going to have 8 of those per bar. So 8 groups of 3 equals 24 notes. Okay, I hope I'm not losing you here. So how many 16th note triplet rests fits in one bar of 4/4? The answer is 24, right? Because 24 16th note triplets fits in one bar of 4/4. 6 notes per count. So now 16th note triplet rests look exactly the same as 16th note rests, except they have that line above with the little 3 in there that differentiates them from 16th notes. So a 16th note triplet rest is basically the value of a 16th note triplet. Now as we continue to get into these more complex note values, the rest period becomes shorter and shorter, especially since we're not changing tempos. We're not going to 10 beats per minute. You know, we're staying at 60 beats per minute. So at 60 beats per minute, a quarter note rest feels like an eternity compared to a 16th note triplet rest. And that's just the way it is, because we're trying to fit 6 notes into one quarter note now, and with quarter notes, you only need to fit 1 note. And so it's very, very different, and it's a lot more challenging. Now, if you want, you can practice these really slowly, and you can just count them 1 triplet and triplet, 2 triplet and triplet, 3 triplet and triplet, 4 triplet and triplet. And then you can rest on the respective part within the bar. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go straight to exercise 2 for you guys, and there's a 16th note triplet rest on the last count within the bar. So what count is that on? That is on the let of the and of 4. So you go 1 triplet and triplet, 2 triplet and triplet, 3 triplet and triplet, 4 triplet and triplet. Right? Okay, so you leave out the let of 4. So as far as the sticking goes, you're going to end with your right hand, because everything is right, left, right, left. And so just practice this really, really slowly if you have to. Don't even use a metronome. Just like practice on your leg, practice on a practice pad, and really try and understand what a 16th note triplet rest feels like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play these for you guys at 60 and 100 beats per minute. Now, for you guys wondering, you know, or scared, you're just ready to turn off the video, please don't. You do not have to do these at 100 beats per minute in order to move on, okay? The tempo we're going to assign to you is 60 beats per minute. So I want you to do these at 60 beats per minute for 2 minutes straight before moving on, okay? So you don't need to worry about going to 100. So what I'll do is I'll play exercise 2 for you at 2 tempos, 60 and 100. Now, exercise 3 does the same thing as we do on count 4 of exercise 2. We're basically dropping off the last 16th note triplet note of every count. So the way to count this was 1 triplet and triplet, 2 triplet and triplet, 3 triplet and triplet, 4 triplet and triplet. Okay? Now, you can choose to go right, left, right, and then left, right, left. Or you can choose to just lead with your lead hand every time. It's not that important right now. Later on, you can really practice and experiment with leading with your left and leading with your right. Right now, what we're trying to do is understand 16th note triplet rests and understand how they relate to time and music in general. All right? So I'm going to play this one for you guys at 60 and 100 beats per minute. Exercise 4 has two 16th note triplet rests at the end of count 1 and again at the end of count 2. Now, think about what else we could put there if we wanted to. Now, two 16th note triplet rest has the same value as one 8th note triplet rest. So if we wanted to, we could put one 8th note triplet rest there. But I chose not to because I really wanted to give you guys a visual demonstration of what 16th note triplet rests look like. Another thing we could do is I could just put an 8th note on the and there, on the end of 1 and the end of 3. And that 8th note, without any triplets there, would take the same value as 3 16th note triplets. And so you would see no rests at all. You would just see the 16th note triplets on count 1, and again the 16th note triplets on count 3. But again, I just wanted to visually show you guys what it looks like to have 16th note triplet rests in there, and how on the drum set things are sometimes notated differently than when you are reading a melodic instruments notation. Okay, so I don't want to confuse you too much, and I hope I'm not confusing you. So what I'm going to do for you is play this for you. You guys can hear how it sounds, and then hopefully that'll make sense with what I was just saying. All right, here we go at 60 and 100 beats per minute. Now, exercise 5 is definitely the most challenging exercise in successful drumming so far. It starts with a pattern on the hi-hat that just goes right, left, left, right, left, left, right, left, left, right. Okay, and on count 2, you bring your hand down and hit the snare drum. Then you just go to a basic beat, bring your left hand down over here, and that happens for the rest of the bar. And then you go into the fill. And the fill, what I've done is I've written in the sticking there for you just because it makes it a little bit easier. Now, you don't have to use that exact sticking if you don't want to. You can use left, right, right if you prefer to do that. You can go right, left, right if you prefer to do that. I find this the easiest sticking to execute this fill. All right? And so hopefully you guys can kind of understand how these are all working and how this all applies to music and how fun 16th note triplets actually are. So I'll play this one for you guys at 60 and 100 beats per minute. And that is how you play 16th note triplet rests. I hope you've got through all of them by now. Please go through them all at 60 beats per minute for 2 minutes straight. Play them perfectly before moving on. Once you've done that, you can move on to 32nd note rests, which is a whole nother challenge in and of itself. I'll see you there.